Ever feel like you're drowning in information? Articles, podcasts, videos. It's a lot to keep up with, right?
It really is. And it feels like it's just getting tougher with all the multimedia content out there.
Right. Like you need to clear your schedule just to get through one long video or podcast and actually pull out the important points.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what we're diving into today. A tool from Google that might just be the solution. NotebookLM.
Okay, interesting.
And their latest update is seriously impressive, especially if you deal with a lot of information from different sources.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So NotebookLM is an AI-powered research assistant, which on its own is already helpful. But it's not just for text anymore. This update lets it handle YouTube videos and audio files too.
Oh, wow, that's big. That kind of bridges a gap that's been, well, kind of glaring for a while now, wouldn't you say?
Totally.
We've got all these lectures, interviews, podcasts, even just recorded meetings that are packed with valuable information.
Right.
But they often end up as these, forgotten files on our computers because who has time to go back and listen to everything again just to take notes?
Exactly. And think about the time you'd save. Like, imagine being able to pull out, say, the 3 key takeaways from a dense 1-hour lecture on, the 2008 financial crisis without having to listen to the whole thing again. That's the kind of power NotebookLM is offering.
That's incredible. No more frantic note-taking while you're trying to keep up with a speaker.
Exactly.
Sign me up. But it's not just transcribing, right? It actually understands the content and pulls out the important bits.
You got it. NotebookLM goes beyond just basic transcription. It actually identifies and highlights the most important passages within those audio or video files.
Yeah.
So you get a summary, for sure, but you also have those direct quotes and crucial points linked right back to the source material.
That's essential, though. Otherwise, you're stuck trying to remember, wait, where did I hear that?
Exactly. It's all about accuracy. And for anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed by just the sheer volume of information they're dealing with, NotebookLM can handle up to 50 different sources. That's articles, videos, audio files per notebook.
50?
Wow. Yeah. And it has a total word limit of 500,000 words. That's a lot of information to keep track of.
It's like having a perfectly organized AI-powered filing cabinet for your brain.
Right. It doesn't matter if you're a student researching for a paper, a professional analyzing market trends from multiple reports, or, honestly, just someone who likes to keep their information organized. This kind of capacity is a game changer.
It sounds like it. And honestly, with the amount of information coming at us these days, it's almost necessary to have something like this just to keep up.
I completely agree. And here's where things get really interesting. They've introduced this experimental feature called audio summary.
Okay.
And it's essentially like getting a conversational rundown of your notes. Almost like a podcast, actually.
So instead of just reading through pages of notes or listening to hours of audio again,
you get the key points delivered in a quick, digestible audio format.
That's pretty cool.
Right. It's like having your own personalized audio cliff notes.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that this kind of caters to different learning styles, too.
That's a good point. Some people are visual learners, some prefer reading, and some absorb information best through audio. This definitely opens up some new possibilities for that last group.
Absolutely. And it's not just about convenience either, right? You're tapping into how people learn best.
Exactly. Like a much more targeted approach.
So imagine this. You're prepping for an exam. Instead of sifting through piles of notes and textbooks.
The worst.
NotebookLM hands you a ready-made study guide, pulling from all those sources, even your handwritten notes.
Wait, even handwritten notes? That's impressive.
Yeah. And it's not just about organizing information. It's about identifying those key themes and connections that honestly might take you hours to figure out on your own.
Right. Like it does the heavy lifting of figuring out what's actually important to focus on.
And then it gets even better. NotebookLM can also create quizzes based on the material.
Okay, that's cool. So you can actually test yourself on the stuff it's pulling out as important.
Exactly. It's like having a personalized study buddy who's already prepped for the exam. And it doesn't stop there. It can even suggest essay topics tailored to all the material you've given it.
Wow. It's really moving beyond just note-taking, isn't it? It's becoming more like a learning partner.
Exactly. It's about active learning, not just passive highlighting. You're using AI to pinpoint the most important concepts and then actually engaging with those concepts in a way that helps you really learn them.
I mean, that's kind of a game changer for education, right? If you think about it.
It really is. And I think it speaks to this larger trend we're seeing with AI. It's not just about automating those tedious tasks anymore. It's about augmenting our capabilities, making us, smarter and more efficient.
It's like, what can we accomplish if we're freed up from those really time-consuming parts of learning and researching?
Right. And the accessibility of this is huge. NotebookLM is now available in over 200 countries, which tells you something about how seriously Google is taking this.
Oh, absolutely. And when you consider all the other ways Google's been integrating AI into its products,
from search to all the workspace apps,
it really seems like a pretty big shift is happening, right? And how we interact with information in general.
it feels like we're on the edge of something huge. Like, remember the early days of smartphones?
Yeah,
When we were just starting to grasp what they could do.
I do. Yeah. It was exciting, but also kind of like, wait, what does this mean for, well, everything?
Exactly. This feels similar, doesn't it? This fusion of AI with all these tools we use every day. It has the potential to be just as revolutionary.
Absolutely. But it also raises these really interesting questions about how we adapt, not just on an individual level, but as a society.
And that brings us to the big so what?
Right. What's the takeaway for all of this?
If AI can handle all that heavy lifting, the summarizing, the organizing, even helping us learn more effectively, what does that free us up to do? What could we achieve with all that extra time and mental energy?
That's the exciting part. Just imagine a world where we're no longer bogged down by information overload. We'd have more mental space for creativity, for critical thinking, for approaching those complex problems in new ways.
It's almost like AI is giving us the tools to, to unlock these new levels of human potential, not just individually, but collectively. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. We've gone from stressing about information overload to actually picturing a world where AI helps us be more creative and better thinkers.
And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating. It's not about, just making our lives easier, faster, although that's a nice bonus.
For sure.
It's really about pushing those limits of what we're actually capable of as humans.
It makes you wonder, what could we create? What problems could we solve if we had more brain power to devote to them, right?
Exactly. And I think that speaks to this future where, humans and AI are working together almost like, teammates.
Like that, yeah.
That we each bring our own strengths, and we can accomplish so much more together than we could ever do alone.
It's like we're entering this, uncharted territory of human potential, and tools like this, like NotebookLM, they're just the beginning.
They are. But with any new tool, the important thing is, really learning how to use it well.
Right.
Understanding what it's good at, what its limitations are, because it's not about replacing us.
It's about making us better.
Exactly.
Well said. Well, this deep dive has certainly given us a lot to think about. For our listeners who are eager to, try NotebookLM out for themselves, we'll be sure to include a link in the show notes.
Definitely check it out.
And if you've already had a chance to play around with it, we'd love to hear what you think. What features have you found, the most useful? Has it changed how you approach your work or your studies? Join the conversation. Leave us a comment on your favorite podcast platform and let us know your thoughts. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.